When Mary first came to me, one of her biggest concerns was fatigue. This wasn't just feeling a little bit tired at the end of a busy day. No, this was something that she was dealing with significant afternoon fatigue and pretty severe brain fog that were interfering with how she felt and how she was able to function during the day. She was also struggling with digestive issues. And like so many women that I work with, Mary had already sought answers. She told me, that she had tried so many different things. And she also said, well, my thyroid's already been checked and it's normal. But when I reviewed her previous lab work, I discovered something important. The thyroid marker that had been tested was the TSH. So rather than assuming that her thyroid was or wasn't a part of the picture, I wanted more information. And what happened over the next 3 months was a wonderful example of why I believe we have to look beyond one lab marker and consider the whole person. So, Mary had already been working with her primary care doctor. She had been taking her thyroid medication. She'd tried intermittent fasting. She'd even tried changing the way she was eating. She went gluten-free. Because her digestion was a problem and she knew that. And so she was trying to work on the digestion. She was trying to work on her thyroid, but she was still having this problem with her fatigue, still having the problem with brain fog, and her digestive symptoms were still a problem for her. So, this is an important part of her story because Mary wasn't someone who hadn't tried anything yet. She really had. She had simply didn't understand yet why she continued to feel the way she did. So when someone comes with those types of symptoms and they tell me that their thyroid testing was normal, I want to know exactly what was tested. In Mary's case, she had a TSH result. TSH, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, is an important and it's a useful thyroid marker, but depending on someone's clinical situation, it may be appropriate to gather some more information. So we went ahead and ordered for Mary, we ordered her free T4, her free T3, and a reverse T3. Those tests give us additional information about her thyroid hormone picture that we didn't have when we were looking at just her TSH alone. And this is where I want to be careful. I didn't look at one additional number and say, whoa, there it is. That's the cause of everything, because there's rarely, uh, that's rarely how I approach a complicated health story. Instead, the new information, all it did was it gave us another clue. So remember when I told you at the beginning that Mary wasn't only tired, she was also having significant digestive problems and brain fog. And that mattered. When I work with someone, I don't separate their body into little boxes and assume that her fatigue belonged in one box, that her digestive symptoms belonged in another, and her thyroid laboratory findings belong somewhere else. Because I want to know, how are these pieces fitting together? And what does that mean? So our plan wasn't simply about chasing those thyroid numbers. We also worked on supporting her digestive health, her through nutrition and her overall health picture, including different strategies that were intended to support not only her thyroid, but her liver function and appropriate nutritional supplementation based on those individual needs. And we gave her body some time. And I think that's important to note too, that we're never talking about a 3-day energy fix or a 7-day program that's going to answer all your questions. So if you're looking for quick fixes, that is not what you'll find with me. Now, we might take little bits at a time and do something to start to change our body's chemistry and our environment within a couple of days or a week. That is not the same thing as looking for all of your answers in a very short period of time. What we're talking about is identifying priorities and then consistently working on them over a period of time. So over approximately 3 months, Mary began to notice meaningful changes. Her digestive health improved, and more importantly, well, not more importantly, but in addition to, her afternoon fatigue and her brain fog greatly improved. So, was there one magic supplement? No. Was there one lab result that explained her entire health story? No. And that's exactly the point. The value came from looking at the information, first of all, that we already had, identifying what additional information might be useful, and then looking at all of it within the context of what Mary's actual symptoms and health history were all about. So I'm sharing Mary's story because I want you to see the difference between two questions. The first question is, are my labs normal? And the second question is, do the labs that I've had help explain what I'm experiencing? Those are not always the same question. And I also don't want you to hear Mary's story and think, well, then I need free T3 and free T4 and reverse T3, and that will explain my fatigue. Maybe those tests are appropriate for you and maybe they're not. Your story may be completely different from Mary's. And that's why the personalization really matters. The personalized care matters. Mary's story is a good example of the way I approach persistent symptoms. I start with the woman first. I listen to what's happening in her life and in her story and in her body. I look at what she's already been tested for. Then I ask, what additional information might be useful to help get the answers to what's going on. And finally, I put those pieces together rather than chasing one isolated number after another, because ultimately we're not trying to create a perfect lab report. I mean, that's not what this is about. We're trying to help real women feel better and function better. So what does that process actually look like? Well, if your blood tests have been called normal, but you're still tired and wondering what to do next, that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do in the final video of this series. I'm going to walk you through 4 steps that I use to determine what information we already have, what we still may need, and where to look next. And I'll introduce you to the process that I use with my own clients. It's called the Radiant Health Method. The next video The name of the next video is Still Tired After Your Blood Tests? 4 Steps to Figure Out What to Look at Next. And I'll see you there.